Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everything is okay with you. Thank you for joining us today. We're here with Emma and Ruth. Emma will be giving our presentation about the primary curriculum, a creative primary curriculum. So thank you very much for joining us today. Before we get started, just to make sure that you can hear me okay, can you just type please in the comments if you are listening this from your school or from house or from your car, just so I can make sure that everybody can listen to me, can hear me, and can see us. So just type home, car, school, with my friend, and we'll get started from there. In the meantime, I'll share my screen and present myself. Yeah, good. So already Mr. Kentfield said he's listening from school, so that's great. So people can hear us. That's good. Okay, so let me get started. So my name is Flavia. I am the head of education here at Seneca Learning, and we're very happy to host this webinar today with our awesome speaker, Emma Palastanga. I will do a 1-minute presentation on what is Seneca, and then I'll let her give the presentation, which is the main event of today. This webinar will be recorded, so if you have to leave early or if you know somebody who cannot attend live, just tell them to use this link. It's the same URL that you're seeing today, will be the link for the recorded webinar. So please share with your friends, with your colleagues, with whoever you think would be interested in this. Good. And then there will be certificates at the end for the ones that stay until the end. There will be a code word that I will share at the end of Emma's presentation. And then all you have to do is email me with those code words, and I'll know that you stayed until the end, and I'll provide you with a certificate. Good. So, as I said, brief introduction, stay until the end, get your codes, Emma presentation, then we have a Q&A session. So just very, very briefly, we are hosting this webinar from Seneca Learning. If you don't know Seneca yet, Seneca is an e-learning platform that integrates cognitive science, gamification, and AI learning tools to help pupils learn better and more efficiently. Seneca is very, very popular among secondary schools. It's used by more than 90% of schools in England, but we also have a primary version of Seneca, and it's new, so it's really, really good that you're here to see what Seneca is about for secondary, but mostly for primary as well, which is what Emma is going to be talking about. So we have 3 platforms within Seneca. We have the student platform, the teacher platform, and the parent platform. The student platform is where they can do their home learning, learn, play games, learn in an engaging, creative way. The teacher platform is where you can set assignments to them, see their progress, see their reports. And the parent platform is where the parents can keep track of their children's learning and identify their weaknesses and strengths. You can also share reports directly with the parents of each child. All of those things, most of those things are free to use. The content is entirely free to use. And the teacher platform, also setting assignments and seeing progress, is also free to use. So very briefly, the progress reports that I mentioned looked a bit like this. You can set home learning to your students, and then you see how well they completed each of those assignments. And then you also see their strengths, their weaknesses, and what they have done and what they have not done. We have everything from Key Stage 2 to Key Stage 5. And for Key Stage 2 specifically, we have computer science, English, history, science, French, maths, and Spanish. So it's a very nice coverage, everything aligned to the national curriculum. Good. So let's get started with Emma's presentation. If you want to know more about Seneca, please go to senecalearning.com. We're going to type the website on the comments. And as my colleague Ruth, who's also here today, she is our head of schools at Seneca, and she used to be a head teacher at primary school before. As she said, any comments, anything you have, just share on the comment bit of YouTube, and Emma can address that during the presentation or at the end of the presentation. So I hope you enjoy this, and Emma, it's up to you.
Thank you very much. Let's see if I can share my screen. Hopefully you can see that. And I will try and get that back up here. Right, okay. So I hope you've had a good day and you have a drink and a snack of your choice. So settle in, it'll be around about an hour to learn more about creativity. So thank you to Seneca for hosting this and inviting me to speak. It's a really big honour for me to do this. And some of you might be familiar with my name from reading my book, following me on social media, or listening to my podcast, but others of you won't know me at all yet. So for the latter, in a nutshell, I'm a passionate educator with over 25 years experience in primary schools, and I'm keen to give educators the confidence to provide a rich, exciting and varied curriculum, meeting the needs of learners and letting the craft of teaching shine. Having said that, I don't have all the answers. We're all learning together, so please do feel free to share your ideas in the chat too. So what to expect? In this session, we'll explore what's meant by creativity, and I will share practical strategies for designing the curriculum. I want to spark genuine curiosity and deep learning. And I hope that you'll discover how to weave creativity seamlessly into every subject, not just traditionally the creative arts. Actionable tips for cross-curricular planning that will save time and boost those connections, and techniques to make sure that curriculum is inclusive to inspire all young learners. Now, I understand, like in any good class, you come with varied prior learning experiences, and I hope I don't bore you with stuff that you already know or bamboozle you with technical vocab. But again, use that chat and we'll have a look at those questions at the end. We're going to start actually with the chat. What do you understand by the term creativity? So if you could drop a comment in the chat. And Flavia, if you could help me to see that. I don't know how I can see. I'm just minimizing this a bit. Can you pop in the chat what you understand by the term creativity? There's no right or wrong answers.
Yeah, let's give it a few seconds for people to answer, and then I'll share them on the screen.
Lovely, thank you. Everybody's shy.
Okay, somebody said here that it's when you make something new, you're being creative.
Yeah, perhaps you can share them. I can't see them coming up. I think it's because I'm already sharing my screen, Flavia, so keep sharing any thoughts that come up there.
Here, using your imagination, another one.
Mm-hmm.
Working and learning in different ways that encourage curiosity and imagination.
Yeah, these are really brilliant suggestions already.
Thinking outside the box.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, are there any more there already? We have a good selection there and some really excellent answers. I'll move on, but if there are any others, please pop them in as we go along. So there are indeed many definitions, so it can be quite confusing for practitioners, but it sounds like most of you here today have an interest and a bit of background knowledge in creativity, because I would say that they're all of those things. It's not just art or music, and a lot of you are saying similar things. So one of my guests, my podcast guests, Dr. Lewis Fogarty, describes it as a mosaic, and I really like this because I think creativity is multifaceted. So I said, let's explore some of your thoughts. We've already done that, so thank you for sharing those thoughts and ideas. I've also put a little calculation down, and somebody said this: imagination plus curiosity equals creativity. And it's not just about creative doing, but also about creative thinking and problem solving and seeing old things in new ways. A bit of fun there. So why is creativity important? We've established what it is, but why is it important? And I hand over to my podcast guests, Pi Corbett, central to living a worthwhile and positive life. He's known for drama for writing, talk for writing, and grammar. Timothy Wambi in Uganda, he is founder of the Ajabu community for underprivileged children, and he talks about problem solving. Creative thinking is how we find the solution to problems. And then some of you may be familiar with Gavin McCormack. He's the educator's most influential educator. And he puts it brilliantly. Creativity is a skill we're desperately crying out for in our schools and homes right now. I think even more so with the development of AI as well. We need children to think critically and creatively. So this is the blurb summarized from the back of my book. I talk about how our curriculum became worryingly narrowed. So it was more about a factory preparing children for tests. And that's nothing new. You'll have heard that in so many different places. But it was about that more than their lives were being enriched with knowledge, skills, and experiences. And it's those things that enable children to perform well in tests and life. So the test should be a byproduct of the excellent learning, not the leader, which I feel like it has been for so long. So those are my thoughts on that. So you might ask then, sorry, I'll go back a step. So you might ask then, why, as a passionate primary educator, keen to encourage creativity, am I collaborating with Seneca, who on the surface, it might look like they're there just to prepare children for tests, ensuring they have the knowledge at their fingertips? Well, yes, but they do it in a creative way. And actually, throughout my book and the podcast, I make it clear that creativity and knowledge are not two distinct curriculum approaches, but they go hand in hand. And that's actually highlighted in Becky Francis's curriculum and assessment review and the government response. So I'm going to just show you a few excerpts. I'm sure you'll have read this through with a fine tooth comb. But they talk about being secure in core subjects as pivotal. But the key point that I found was additional knowledge and skills will be needed if we're to maximize those opportunities and equip children to meet the challenges. Okay. Then we look at a knowledge-rich curriculum, which we've heard over and over. And I think that's where in some schools, we've had the approach where you have a PowerPoint and a worksheet, because actually the most important thing here is the children have the knowledge. And what it said in the curriculum review document is a knowledge-rich curriculum need not omit or be in opposition to the development of those skills. And that filled me with real hope going forwards, actually. I stand by that and have done for a long time, but it was great to see it in black and white. And also, it's about the balance of those vocational, physical, creative, academic subjects. It's a bit of everything. We need that for our children, for their future. So all of those subjects are really important. This really struck me, okay? This quote about coping with the demands of the future, you can all read. So that quote was actually said in, anybody want to guess the year before it pops up on the screen? 1996, which is quite some time ago, almost 30 years. And then we have it repeated again 30 years later. And it was this, the point that I've highlighted here. We must shift from a narrow conception of what they need to know to deliver that breadth of knowledge, skills, and opportunities. And it's repeated. Look here, to cope with the demands of the future, the world in which our children growing up is changing more rapidly than ever. we've said it 30 years apart. So let's get those creative skills into school, that creative thinking, problem solving. Let's get them into school and learning. Moving on. So this, the quality of this video isn't fantastic. The content, however, is. So bear with me. It's a very, very short clip, about 3 minutes, I think. So this just struck me as to basically how we learn. Again, forgive me if this is something you're very familiar with.
As for every single one of us, learning something new means rearranging the way her brain works. Our brain has an astonishing 100 billion neurons.
I'm sorry, let me try that again. A little technical hitch on my part, sorry. Let me try again. Forgive me.
Brain cells all connected together.
Are you able to make it a bit louder, Emma?
Creating and strengthening pathways through
Yes,
these
yes.
neurons for impulses of electricity. But between each and every connection in our brains, there's a tiny gap called a synapse. For any of us to learn something new, the electrical signal has to jump across this gap to continue its journey. The gap between the two brain cells is tiny, but that doesn't mean it's straightforward for a signal to get from one side to the other. For us, it's like crossing a deep ravine. And getting from one side to the other should tell us something about the way we learn. The first time a signal crosses from one brain cell to the other demands the most effort, and it's the same when we cross our ravine. The first trip across is the hardest. Having crossed the ravine once, the journeys across get easier and easier. And a similar thing happens when we learn something. To start with, learning is difficult. As the signal crosses the gap between the brain cells again and again, we establish a more solid pathway. By the time we've made the crossing over and over again, it becomes effortless. We can do it whenever we like. We finally learned something. As for every single one of us.
Sorry, that should have perhaps come with a warning for anybody who is fearful of heights. Apologies. I hope that was useful. So the next question is, how can we then create and strengthen the neurological pathways? And the answer is pretty simple, actually. Many of you will be screaming this at me as I'm presenting it to you. Yeah, it's play, actually. So play, curiosity, and creativity go hand in hand, and play is the brain's primary learning mode. I can almost imagine people cheering here who are embracing play, particularly early years practitioners. We can learn so much from early years. It's the primary learning mode. It strengthens executive functioning, planning, working memory, self-regulation. Just picture yourself in that classroom with those children playing. You can see all these skills coming through, and they're all essential for lifelong success. So why play? There's a few facts here that really fascinate me, actually. So the brain chemistry, when we're more relaxed, we can learn more. So when we're having fun, we can learn more, and it makes the learning stick. The neural connections, this is the one that just blows me away every time. It literally takes 10 to 20 repetitions when we're playing to learn something. But without play, it's about 400 repetitions. So that's a no-brainer, really, isn't it? And when children are interested, we know this, they're more engaged, they're driven just by that intrinsic curiosity. It's not right, we've got to get through this, then on to this. It's joyous for us as practitioners as well. And my goodness, we need some joy. Skills building, those foundational skills for all of those other cross-curricular links as well. And as I said earlier, it's a stress-free environment. When it's stress-free, we have the dopamine release and the reduction in cortisol. And that's so important. Cortisol, the high stress hormone, actually blocks the ability to learn effectively. So why wouldn't we want to give children that calm, relaxed and fun environment within which to learn? You can hear more about this with Tina Farr, actually, in episode 1. I don't know if, Tina, you're listening, but she does some brilliant things with play and creative approaches to teaching and learning. So do have a listen to episode 1 for that. And I can hear some of you going, yeah, that's all very well beyond early years, but the rest of us, we've got to get through it. We've got all these curriculum objectives. Do you really expect us to play? 100% yes, absolutely. That play might look a bit different beyond early years. We might not have no tables and chairs or few tables and chairs and lots of equipment around for the children to free flow, but we need to maintain that exploration and curiosity without necessarily having a predetermined outcome. And by that, obviously, we have those objectives to meet, but not everybody doing everything exactly the same way. Okay, playful approaches also we can have in creative teaching. It's about being open-minded. So we don't have predetermined outcomes. I said, yes, we might want to follow or we'll need to deliver those national curriculum objectives, but everyone will produce an image of X or Y, or all children will complete the same worksheet, isn't very exciting or engaging. So what about offering variety in the approaches? It doesn't mean you won't have the learning objectives, but the outcomes may differ. And why do we need to perhaps record things in a book? I'll come to that a bit later. But creative thinking, we can encourage children to find out for themselves, researching, experimenting and exploring. These are all playful approaches, and making encouraging connections through providing engaging contexts which the children can learn. It's about making it meaningful, isn't it? Creative expression, then we come to, it's a great vehicle, the art, drama, music, to explore learning objectives and present findings as well. So why can't children create a film and record that instead of writing it down in a book? How about creating a painting or a mosaic to show what they've learned, creating a piece of music or expressing their knowledge through dance or drama or sculpture? So my question is, does it always have to be recorded in written form in a book? Why and who does it benefit? Excuse me, I have got some notes here I'm just flipping through. So yeah, when I refer to a creative curriculum, I'm not meaning an off-the-peg one-size-fits-all, but any approach really which embraces creative teaching and learning through a range of different methods. So a toolkit, Hal Roberts mentioned this in the podcast. I've put this here because I remember introducing ancient Egypt with a tray of sand on each table and some laminated artifacts, if you like, where the children had to pick them out with a paintbrush very carefully, putting themselves in role as archaeologists, and then piece things together. In fact, I think I had sort of 2 or 3 separate pieces of a pot in different people's trays. So they had to go around the room and say, oh, I think that's part of mine, like a jigsaw puzzle. They had to pull them together. And they really enjoyed that. And then each group researched 1 or 2 items and presented back to the group. So a crime scene is another situation that people have used. The trays of sand that I've just said about. Maybe go into role in the teacher. You're not teacher anymore. You go into this drama role and you have a quest for the children to fulfill. Maybe producing a new YouTube channel for children to learn about. I think we did one for the Indus Valley, and it was a CD back then because it was a few years ago. So the children created chapters for a TV or an educational CD that we would send out for other children of the same age to learn about the Indus Valley. Maybe beyond the 4 walls of the classroom. That's what this other picture is doing here. It doesn't always have to be indoors learning. You could learn outside. And we know that learning outdoors calms the nervous system and provides opportunities to learn from our natural world. Visits to historic sites, museums, or a meadow even can enhance further learning. And also there are lots of creative thinking opportunities, lots of methods that we can slot into our everyday practice. Philosophy for children, metacognition, play and drama for learning, and also using cross-curricular links. We will come back to this, and it might be that we have an opportunity to have a bit of a play together. Depends how up for it you all are and how much time we have left as well. But it just opens opportunities for all learners and helps them to make their own connections, understanding why it matters to them personally. And we're not automatons, we're not robots as curriculum deliverers. I know it feels like that sometimes, but we're not, and we need to throw off those shackles and really enjoy the craft of teaching again. So creative expression, drama, art, music, dance, filmmaking, and more can actually be used as learning tools to explore ideas. And they don't need to be polished final pieces. It's more about the process than the product. They can be a tool, a vehicle, a method, however you want to phrase it, for learning. I don't know if any of you have heard of Dorothy Hethcott's Mantle of the Expert, but you might want to go and look that up. Put very simply, it's role play where the child is the expert in a particular field, or also Pi Corbett's approach with short whole class activities. I don't know if any of you have used Conscience Alley, but for those who haven't, one child hears different viewpoints spoken by other class members as they walk down this alley. Children stood either side of them. It's absolutely fascinating and such a powerful tool, actually. So it's a different way of sort of hot seating a character, or you could use traditional hot seating. And I've used drama as an example, but it could be art, or you could explore concepts in maths or science. Again, I did a lesson where we used, bit crazy, cleaners might not thank you for it. So maybe think about how you do this, but using soft bristled toothbrushes, new toothbrushes, if you like, flicking paint at sheets of black paper where you've put shapes down on top, shows the children that light cannot travel through an opaque object. So you're using the paint and the paper as metaphors for light and those objects. And then when you lift them away, you see that's where the shadow will be. But it also creates a really nice art display in the classroom. Creative expression can also be used to show what has been learnt. So, for example, a 3D model, a painting, a short drama presentation, like I mentioned, the TV show, or a mime, maybe an animation using technology, or a musical piece to express the emotion or showcase musical skills that they've learnt along the way. So I go back to that question, Does the learning always have to be written in an exercise book or on a worksheet? And why? And who does it benefit? So cross-curricular planning, again, I don't want to insult anybody. It may be the way that you work, but if you don't, then this is just an overview. So the Curriculum and Assessment Review talks about vertical and horizontal coherence. So vertical coherence means what they learn and when throughout their time in school, but horizontal coherence is going across, saying about the cross-curricular links. And this is taken from the Curriculum and Assessment Review, where content in one area relies on content in another. The most simple example I can think of right now is in science and maths, for example, with data handling. And this was really refreshing to read on page 49 in the Curriculum and Assessment Review. I wonder how many other people cheered at this, that it's especially relevant in the primary phase, where those well-aligned cross-disciplinary content supports effective teaching and learning. So it's recognizing us as a primary phase and saying, yes, it's important. We are important. And actually we have opportunities to learn through cross-curricular, cross-disciplinary content. So that really was welcome to read that. So where do we start? Well, I would suggest that we need a map out your curriculum across the whole school for the year, which you've probably done. Mapping out the vertical links, what you will teach in each year group and for each unit of work, and then showing your horizontal links by identifying contexts to link the learning and enrichment activities, such as visits, visitors, and different experiences to enhance the topic. You're thinking here, well, this sounds like an awful lot of time. It will take time. I'm not going to pretend it won't, but see it as an investment rather than something off the peg, which perhaps feels disjointed. This could be your opportunity to have more autonomy as the teacher, to really get stuck in, to get excited about teaching and learning again. I think there's been a lot of really positive emphasis on reducing teacher workload, but the solution to use ready-produced materials, I think, has in some case reduced the art of teaching to one of curriculum delivery that I mentioned earlier, that we surely don't just want that. And I think that delivery can be dry and unappealing. I'm not saying all methods, but sometimes I feel this can happen. And I think a series of slides followed by worksheets, which is repeated multiple times a day with different subject matter, is not that inspiring for our children. Where is the opportunity for problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity? And how do children explore cause and effect relationships, learn to make decisions, and engage in imaginative thinking through worksheets? So this approach does take time, but it gives teachers back the agency and will ultimately save time when children are more engaged and you're not repeating content in different subjects unnecessarily. So I don't know, Flavia, whether you think we've got time to have a little play and explore, or whether that's a natural place to stop. Are you there, Flavia?
Sorry, I was on mute.
That's okay, no problem.
Yeah, we can try for 1 minute. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
A bit past the time, but we have a little bit of time. Yeah, if people are still around, we can do that.
Okay. So just give a thumbs up then in the comments if you would like to have a go at this, where we just pop in some year 5 objectives and create together a creative curriculum web, or whether it's something you would prefer to do on your own in your own schools. So perhaps a thumb up if you fancy having a little explore together.
Let's do one as an example. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we, I'll bring up my suggestion here. These are my notes to you, Flavia, so excuse the sketchiness of the presentation. So I was thinking, for example, you could have a topic. Oh, somebody has put a thumb up there. Great. So please add comments as we go. If you think, yeah, I could do this, and I've now just lost that document, Flavia. Where's it gone? This is the way it works.
I have it. Do you want me to open? I have it open here.
Oh, it's okay. It's just popped behind.
Okay.
I have it here. Thank you. It just hit. Thank you. So linked to early farming, I thought maybe the overarching question could be, where does our food come from? Or what are the ingredients for survival, which opens it even wider, actually. Then I thought we could link to history, changes in Britain from the Stone Age to the Iron Age, or late Neolithic, easy for me to say, hunter-gatherers and early farmers, maybe Iron Age hill forts. So again, farming, linking it to farming both times. And then you could have links to geography there. You could look at here the English preparing poems and plays to read aloud, but you could then link those poems to farming and food. And the writing composition, you could be have a real purpose, but you might be a farmer then in this period in history, writing a letter or a diary to somebody else. I think it's really important. The one thing I must say is, don't make links for the sake of it. If it doesn't fit, don't put it together in that topic web. Leave it as a separate entity. That's fine. We don't have to link every single thing. But if we can link enough topics together, and if we can see the natural links, make them, because it makes it more purposeful and more engaging. But don't shoehorn things in for the sake of it. That's counterintuitive. I was thinking about sort of measuring, being an early farmer, planning their new farm. And again, be really careful. You do want to be teaching that rich curriculum content. Let's not string together subjects and just a nod to that curriculum area. Make sure that you're teaching that quality curriculum content in a relevant context. I think that was one of the early criticisms by Ofsted, actually, when they first looked at these topic style of teaching, that they noticed it didn't have the rigorous content. But I think we've now gone down that route differently. So I think the rigor is already there, and we've almost lost creativity on the way. So if we can bring that creativity back whilst maintaining the rigor, we'll be on to a winner. Almost rhymed, I think, that. So yeah, music is brilliant. Children can create songs, or you can use songs as well to learn through the curriculum. And I know this is one of the subjects under review. I know lots of the subjects are at the moment, but these areas are from the current curriculum. We can also adapt our learning when we get the new curriculum coming out as well. The approach doesn't need to change. So I hope that kind of gives an overview. I'm going to have a look at the comments and see if anybody can add anything to that, anything that they would include if we were looking at food and farming, or where does our food come from, or what do we need to survive, or what your thoughts are to making those links, or what your overall views are of the presentation. I was just going to, while I ask that, I should bring up that last slide, Flavia, so that actually we'll have a pause a minute and then I will bring that back up. I want to sort of then talk about how Seneca links to that, and then I will share with you a QR code, which if you have a smartphone at the ready, you can scan that and it will link to my social media channels and the podcast and the book, where I've got lots more ideas and information, and you can hear loads of inspiring guests if you don't already listen. Shall I bring that those last two slides up, and then we can come back to the comments.
Yeah, while people think about their last thoughts, I just...
Yeah. So let me just pop this back on. So how does Seneca fit with this approach, this creative approach? Well, you can use Seneca for the pre-learning. If you set assignments via the platform as pre-learning, children can learn independently at their own pace. And then you can make the best use of the lesson time, exploring common misconceptions when you've looked at your analysis of the test results, if you like, or the task results. And you can apply and consolidate knowledge through the investigations and practical hands-on learning. I think that's where Seneca fits really well. I'm not saying it solely delivers the knowledge, but it takes the pressure off so that we can then apply the knowledge and use practical hands-on learning approaches in the classroom. And also, yes, you can use it for assessment. So it can inform your future planning, and you can measure the success of your creative methods so that you can prove to yourself that actually in teaching this way, the children are still learning the objectives that I'm intending them to learn. And there you are, there's the Scan Me QR code. So please scan away and follow me on social media.
It's brilliant. Thank you so much, Emma. There was a comment here from Audrey. I'm not sure if that was about just now or if she just joined a bit later, but yeah, it's about agency. Can you see the comment on the screen?
No, hang on, let me have a look. I'm just mute. Right. Ah, Kampala, Uganda. That's where, that's Audrey, and that's where Timothy is based as well. Starting with asking what children already know, what they'd like to know. Great for giving a measure of agency. Believe agency is central to creativity. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Yes, I can see the question now. Yeah, excellent suggestion, Audrey, and hello to Kampala, Uganda.
Yeah, I seem to have lost my camera. I don't know why I'm not.
Oh yes, I can.
Going.
I can hear you, but not see you.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm here. Great, everyone. So we'll do a few more minutes for questions. But before that, as promised, let me just share these, which are the secret codes or code words. So if you'd like to get a certificate of attendance for having joined this webinar, just send me, Flavia, this. Just say, hi, I went to the webinar. These are the secret code. And then I'll share and send your certificate back to you. So just write it down, secretary session song, little alliteration with Seneca there. And if you have any questions at all about Seneca, contact either me or my colleague, Ruth, who's there as well.
Okay,
and we'll be more than happy to help you get started. As Emma said, we have lots of stuff for primary and all the other key stages as well. If you happen to be here and you're not a primary teacher, just get in touch with us. Would you like to add anything, Ruth, before we get back?
I just wanted to say, Emma, thank you very much indeed. Creativity was always central to what I tried to do when I was in schools. And one of the things that I think Seneca does well about play is the new idea of games on our site, so that the children can kind of play with their knowledge and skills and learn in a kind of, fun, engaging way. And I think that's very important and something that you brought out this afternoon. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And it was a very great webinar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody. I hope that wasn't too long or too onerous for people. I hope it sparked some ideas. And yeah, please follow me and look at the website, the podcast and the book for more ideas on a similar theme.
Yeah. Great. So we'll be here for another 30 seconds. So it's 45 minutes overall time. If you have any further questions, just let us know. If not, please do get in touch with us. And Emma, do you want to share your email contact? Emma, how can they contact you?
Yes. How can I do that in the chat? click the chat. Let me see if I can. No, I don't think I can put it in the chat. Would you send it out in the podcast, in the notes afterwards, Flavia?
Yes, I will send the email to everyone, a follow-up email with all the main contacts and information.
But if I also pop up my last slide, if anybody wants to scan that, then you can contact me through there. LinkedIn is probably the best way to contact me, actually.
Perfect.
So scan that, follow through to LinkedIn, and contact me there.
Great.
Oh,
awesome.
That's a lovely comment there. Let's get creative.
Yes, no. Hopefully, everyone has been inspired to go and be creative in their schools and but use the knowledge and skills in different ways.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice afternoon, and I'll send the email with the follow-up info very soon. Thank you very much, Emma, as well.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.